Great radio stations across the land, iHeartRadio, JoePags.com. It is the Joe Pags Show for a Tuesday. As promised, the Republican nominee for President of the United States, it's Donald J. Trump. Donald, how are you?
Hi, Joe. How you doing?
I'm living the dream, my friend. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I know that you're really crunched for time. First question out of the box has to be, how on earth are you doing this? I mean, every single day, all the media that you do, all the campaign stops that you do, Hillary Clinton, as you say often, is resting somewhere and doesn't have the stamina. What is it that keeps you going? This is kind of amazing.
Well, the whole theme is Make America Great Again, and we're close. I mean, we're getting hit like nobody's ever been hit in history before with the media. The media is so dishonest and crooked, and the media between media and her. But we've been hit so hard with this media with phony stories, phony charges, phony allegations by, this last one is the women that came out, and they're just lies and fabricated stories. None of those stories are true, none of them. But in the meantime, they get picked up for 2 days. And it's really, it happens to be just by coincidence 25 days before the election when they came out. So it's a very unfair situation, and they get put on front pages of newspapers, especially like the New York Times and the Washington Post, which is that's so dishonest. So what we're doing is we're letting the word out. We're speaking to shows like you, and we're, I think, getting the word out. I mean, the polls look pretty good. We're almost winning or tied in almost every important state in terms of the election.
And that was the next question. Rasmussen this morning has it in a virtual dead heat. Any poll that has any gravitas has it in a virtual dead heat. Then you've got NBC has you down by 11, which is stupid. But even after all the hits that you've taken, you still have been able to maintain either a tie or a lead against Hillary Clinton. What do you owe that to?
Well, I think it's the message. It's speaking to people like you, Joe, and it's speaking to people that are fair and not biased, and people that understand. I mean, it's horrible what the mainstream media does. They're pushing her. Without her, she'd be 25 points down. She's so bad. She is such a terrible candidate. She'll be such a terrible president. And without her, without mainstream media, she wouldn't even be in this race. She shouldn't be in the race. Look, what she did with the emails is totally illegal. She shouldn't be in this race. She shouldn't be allowed to run in this race. So it's a very, very tough situation from that standpoint. But I think the word is getting out. And you notice in swing states, we're winning Ohio, and we're doing really well in virtually every swing state.
And we're heard on every one of those states, and of course we're seen in every one of those states. It's Donald J. Trump, the Republican nominee for president. The biggest political scandal in our history, Donald, that's what we're dealing with right now with this Wikileaks dump. Just very quickly, Hillary Clinton says one thing in public, means something else in private. She wants open borders. She told people she does. She wants jobs to leave America, businesses to leave America. No big deal. Open borders, we're all one people. She got the questions before a town hall with Bernie Sanders. There's obvious collusion with the media. Doesn't like Catholics, has a problem with needy Latinos, told when to smile on teleprompter. I mean, honest to God, this is the biggest political scandal in our history, and the media is trying to snuff it out. You somehow keep it alive. I keep it alive. Hannity keeps it alive. I get that. Right. But the collusion, 96% of the media, when they gave donations to campaigns, gave to Hillary Clinton. How are you staying above that?
It's amazing that we're essentially tied or almost tied in the polls. To me, it's amazing. And, all the things you said are true. That all came out in the WikiLeaks, which are not covered like they should because they're covering fictitious stories and they're covering lies. And, they'd rather do it that way. They know it's a lie, but they'd rather do that. The WikiLeaks are amazing, and they're not being covered or being covered very little. This last one with the FBI and the State Department is terrible. That's Watergate. And they're giving it very, very little coverage. So I find it very sad for the country. And people, we're all sort of like the forgotten man and woman.
Right.
It's incredible what's going on. And the whole concept is Make America Great Again, and that's what we're going to do. And we're going to hopefully win this thing. But it's a really big fight because it's a corrupt media, totally corrupt, and it's rigged. I mean, look, it's rigged. They put front page stories on meaningless stories, and they take things like the FBI and the State Department stories, which is Watergate, and they give it very little coverage. It's incredible to everybody.
The thing that I hear from my listeners every single day, Mr. Trump, is this guy has employed tens of thousands of people for 30 and 40 years. He creates jobs. He builds things. He adds to the tax rolls because of all the people that he employs. The unemployment rate in this country is out of control, as you know. Jobs are leaving, as you know. Do you ever get the sense that you don't hit on that stuff as much because you're constantly defending yourself? My listeners and the voters, they want to hear you talk about that.
Oh, sure. I mean, the jobs, it's a disaster. Mexico's stealing our businesses. China's making our product, and so many other countries, not just those two. And I'm always defending myself, saying, by the way, I wasn't there in 1992 about some woman that made up some story, and all of these things. And it's a terrible thing. I mean, it's really a terrible thing. I view our country, I love our country, but I do view it differently because I've never seen such dishonesty as with the media. The media is more dishonest than Hillary Clinton, and she's really dishonest.
What's the goal tomorrow night? Do you go in with all this substance, knowing that you're the businessman, knowing that you're the job creator, knowing that you're the person who loves America, where we've got now proof that Hillary Clinton doesn't really care about America or our borders? Do you go in tomorrow night with that perspective, or do you go in tomorrow night on a defensive stance?
Well, I don't want to be defensive. I'll probably have to defend myself because they like this stuff. It's sexier, but it's very unimportant. And I've said it 100 times. None of these things exist. Much of it's been debunked. You saw that where it was debunked.
Absolutely.
Where the butler said it never happened, and where the family came out and said the girl is lying, and where different things have, and it's been debunked. And so much of it, and nobody believes that airplane story. This woman sitting on an airplane. I mean, give me a break. It was just made up, and it's really sad. And it's a shame I have to waste time discussing it. But you understand. But I think I've done a good job because I think now people are really feeling that this is stuff that never took place. I thought my wife was fantastic on television.
Amazing. No, I mean, she was so well spoken about the entire thing. And also, what about the attacks on me? She said when they used 15, 20-year-old modeling photos, and I was proud of those photos, and I'm proud of my body and my career. I mean, they try to take everything that you guys have ever done and make something negative when in fact you're a very proud people.
They said she was in the country illegally, and she had it down to the absolute penny in terms of what she does everything. She's a very precise person, and everything was perfect, but they said she came into the country illegally, and it turned out to be false. But she had to go through lawsuits and all this other stuff, but she came in the way you're supposed to come in, and she was even criticized for that. So I thought she was fantastic last night.
Hillary Clinton clearly doesn't have the stamina to be the president. She's shown that she doesn't have the stamina to be a campaigner. I mean, you're completely killing her the campaign trail. But tomorrow night, when she says anything, any thought about saying something like, folks, don't believe anything she just said, in about 2 years we'll hear from Wikileaks what she really meant? I mean, at some point, you have to really smack her upside the head with the fact that she's completely and utterly dishonest, no?
Well, I think she is. Well, she's a very dishonest person. Somehow to me, you can go through foundations and you can go through all, but the easiest thing for me to describe are all of these emails that are missing. I mean, nobody's ever seen anything like it. 33,000. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, and there's another 15,000 somewhere that are, in trouble. And then boxes are missing too. Boxes of them.
This
is a very dishonest, corrupt person. And we'll see what happens. I mean, we're going to see what happens. The question is, do we have enough on our side to get out and get us over that margin? Because we are going to see what happens. And, Joe, if we don't make it, I think it's our last chance. It's, Supreme Court judges, Second Amendment, they want to take your guns away, Second Amendment, so many things. And the question is, are we going to get over that line? Are we going to inch over that line? Because that's why everybody has to go out and vote. Are we going to get over the line?
It's Donald J. Trump, the Republican nominee for President of the United States. You were in San Antonio recently, and I have to hit on this because, as you know, I'm based in San Antonio. And some police officers, of their own volition, put on Make America Great Again hats, and they took some pictures, and a video was taken, and the mayor had a fit, and the police chief had a fit, and the left had a fit, and Democrats had a fit. It's odd to me, Donald, that the President of the United States, who's on our dime, can go out, take a side, and campaign and rip you every single day and support support Hillary Clinton every single day. Nobody says a word. But if a police officer wants to say, yeah, I'm out here protecting this candidate who's in my town today, these people are being written up and they're getting reprimanded. Had you heard about the controversy after you left?
I was so sad to hear it, and you can imagine if they put on a crooked Hillary hat, they would have been just fine.
Right.
And it's so sad to hear it. I assume he's a Democratic mayor?
It's a woman, yeah, Ivy Taylor. She's Democrat, yep.
Democrat, yeah. Well, she should be ashamed of herself. These are incredible people. I did meet them, and they put it on for a second, but I did just a quick photo shot.
Right.
I did meet them. They're incredible people, incredible, brave people. And for her to be criticizing them, she should be ashamed of herself. I tell you, I've seen this, and a lot of people feel the same way with what they do and the way they put their lives at stake. And for her to criticize them, she should be ashamed of themselves. And if they put on a Hillary Clinton hat, she wouldn't have said a thing. So it's very sad. We have tremendous police support all over the country. Many,
and
they
border,
weren't the first.
border patrol.
Many forces have done that or similar things. But we have, I don't know, I have to say close to 100% police support. Who's going to support her? She's not for anything having to do with law and order.
And I talk to the Border Patrol all the time, and they are huge supporters of yours, which actually, it's the first time we've ever seen anything like that.
The Border Patrol endorsed me, 16,500. And 2 weeks ago, ICE just endorsed me. These are great people, and both of them. And first time they've ever done it, and I am honored.
I know you've got to run. Last question. In the next 21 days, what is the focus going to be to make sure that the next president of the United States is you, Donald J. Trump?
Well, I do the debate tomorrow, and then after that, it's just going to be speeches and rallies after speeches and rallies, and then we see whether or not, we get a fair shake with the election. We won't get a shake with the press. The press is so bad. It's so bad. But we'll see, and hopefully people know what's going on, and people are going to get out and vote, and we're going to make America great again, and they're not going to be the forgotten people anymore. We have a movement. They've never seen anything like it, But, they have just such a false narrative. I would have never believed, Joe, that the press could be so dishonest. It's so dishonest. And they actually acknowledge it in a certain way. I mean, they acknowledge the dishonesty.
And 10 years ago, you were their darling. 10 years ago, you were the biggest star, and everybody couldn't wait to do something with Donald Trump because it meant instant money and instant ratings. How they turned on you must be mind-blowing.
Well, it's really since the election. I mean, I was getting, great press. I built a great company, phenomenal company. It's really since I announced I was running, including during the primaries, I was hit. But nothing like this. I mean, if I do the greatest thing in the world, they'll make it into a negative story. Everything's a negative story. So, look, I'm doing it for the people. I'm doing it to see if it can be done. And if we do it, we'll make America great again. And that's what it's about. We have to, because our country's in such trouble.
The Republican nominee for President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Donald, it's always an absolute pleasure. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Joe. Great honor, and I appreciate your support. I really do. You're a fantastic guy. Have a good time.